Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Reckless Paradise podcast. I am your host, Dystro, and tonight is another Thursday, but it is a throwback Thursday. But this time, it's going to be a little bit different. Kind of going back in time to December 5th of whatever year we wanted to be. Starting to do like a new series on the channel. I know we always do new series, like it's going out of style. But tonight's new series is called A Day in History, or On This Day in Wrestling History. Whereas like we take a certain day, like December 5th, and we go through each, individual year or whatever happened on that day, and just kind of talk about it. It might be a little bit longer, it might be shorter, who knows. But let's kind of kick this off with, I guess, like December 5th, 2004, going to TNA Turning Point. This is where Macho Man Randy Savage wrestled his first and only match for TNA at that Turning Point pay-per-view. Sadly, it would also be his final ever professional wrestling match. It was a six-man tag. Savage teamed with Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles versus Jeff Jarrett, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash. Also, also on the card, Team Canada defeated Three Life Crew to win the NWA Tag Team Championships. Also in December 5th, 2005, Eric Bischoff's reign as general manager of Raw came to an abrupt end after 3.5 years in the position. A mock trial by Vince McMahon, if you remember this, Vince McMahon ended with a Cena dumping Bischoff in the back of a garbage truck to mark his big farewell as a full-time character in WWE. Some of this stuff is going to be kind of like hit or miss with some people. It also just depends on like what you fancy in this time frame too. But we do have some birthdays on this day. Born on this day in 1989, JT Dunn, who is one half of Death by Elbow with Chris Hero. He is, I think he's in oh, what is it? He's in Evolve. He's been in like NXT stuff, I think. But he's most notable in Wrestling Revolver right now, as a leader of the unit. Also love to good to love to see him strive and just live life. Also born on this day in 1958, Dynamite Kid, and also in 1953 is Larry Sabisco, the enforcer or the cruncher Larry Sabisco. Um, Not a lot of like birthdays that are well known. Like there's the three, but also we do have some deaths. One of the biggest one is Dynamite Kid. He died on December 5th of 2018. Which was like a sad day for British wrestling history. Um, so sticking with December 5th, 2009. TNA Wrestling announced that Hulk Hogan would debut for the company on the January 7th, 2010. On the same night that Impact would move to its from a Thursday night time slot to go to head with Monday Night Raw. Sad to say that TNA didn't really luck out during that time frame, because Monday Night Raw was killing them in the ratings, which is sad to say. But also sticking with TNA here, going to 2010. TNA Final Resolution took place at the Impact Zone in Orlando, Florida. One title change occurred on that night when Douglas Williams defeated AJ to win the TV title. Also on the card, Generation Me, now known as the Young Bucks, took on the Motor City Machine Guns. Their series of matches have been like so good, and it's been so I guess impactful, no pun intended. Um, but also again sticking with 2013 TNA here. 2013 at Impact taping, Magnus, now known as Nick Aldis, defeated AJ Styles in a unification match to become the undisputed TNA World Heavyweight Championship. This would turn out to be AJ's last match with the company after a 11-year run. He's been with the company since its inception in 2002, which is very, very synonymous with TNA, because TNA, well, AJ and as a whole wanted to like have the same money, but just a little bit more money, so that he could just stick around. And TNA was just like, nope, sorry, we're not gonna give that to you, even though they've been doing that for other guys. Um, I think TNA's biggest loss, so to speak, is like as like star power. Um, because TNA loses AJ and AJ goes on like this big, huge, indie run in New Japan, PWG, ROH, and anywhere else that like would want him. So it's kind of sad to say, that he couldn't get the same amount of money that he's been getting since its inception in '02. But also on the exact same taping, Chris Sabin won the TNA Division title against Austin Aries, which was a hell of a match. It was a really, really good match. um, so then going to 2018, the Dynamite Kid, Tom Billington, passed away on his birthday at the age of 60 in his hometown of Wigan. The exact cause of death was never confirmed publicly. Um, like I said, like the noticeable wrestling participants, Dynamite Kid, Larry Zbyszko, and Adrian Street. If you've not seen the documentary on Adrian Street, I highly recommend it. But then you have the deaths of Dynamite Kid. So it's kind of a short one. So maybe we should just do another one just in case to kind of like stretch it out for time a little bit. So we're gonna go back to the last night or yesterday, I should say, December 4th. December 4th, 1991. After winning the WWE Championship back from The Undertaker in controversial fashion at this Tuesday in Texas pay-per-view, Hulk Hogan was stripped of the title by on-screen president Jack Tunney. The belt would be awarded to the winner of the '92 Royal Rumble, which would wound up to be Ric Flair. That is very, very controversial because I think if I can remember correctly, I think it was like Undertaker's foot was on the rope, but then um Hogan like pins him and also then like I think it was like Earl Hebner or something, like he just didn't see Undertaker's foot on the rope and kind of like been like, oh no, it's like kind of kayfabe sort of thing. So but the '92 Royal Rumble, like getting the the world title and stuff, it's like won by Ric Flair. Yeah, that was cool. It was a good moment, but it was like kind of like just downplayed a little bit because like by the WrestleMania that year, it's like he loses it to Savage. He just loses it to Macho Man. Um, so it's like good 2 months, maybe 3 months with the belt, and he just loses it like that to Savage. Like it was such bad booking. Um, Going to 1993 now. 1993, Kevin Sullivan and the Tasmaniac, as also known as Taz, defeated Shane Douglas and Tommy Dreamer for the ECW Tag Team Championships after Douglas turned on Dreamer to cost the team the belts. This is the multiple heel turns that Douglas has done in his entire career. Um, Also, Kevin Sullivan and Tasmaniac winning the tag titles just does it sounds like something out of 2K Universe mode. um, but yeah, it was like ECW at the time was also known as Eastern Championship Wrestling, and then goes into Extreme Championship Wrestling in 95, 96. Um, that was kind of I bet that's kind of it was just kind of weird because it was like it's Eastern Championship Wrestling with the NWA ties and all that stuff. So I'm guessing it's just kind of like one of those things where it's like, okay, well, I'm just gonna turn on you and fuck your mother. um Jumping way far ahead into the future, in 2000, on Monday Night Raw in East Rutherford, New Jersey, William Regal won the WWF European Championship from Crash Holly. I do not remember Crash Holly being a European champion, but you know what? Whatever, fuck me, I guess. Every time I hear or see the European Championship, I always think of Regal, because he always just carries it with that gravitas and all that stuff. Um, but like when you think of Regal, it's like you think of the European Championship and maybe the Intercontinental Championship, but it's like or maybe the tag team run that he's had many times over. But it's kind of weird, because like Regal is like one of those guys that could have been more in the WWF, but they just never saw him as such. I mean, like, yeah, he won the King of the Ring. He was the Intercontinental Champion. He was European Champion, like, many times over. He was Tag Champ. But it was, like, one of those things where it's just, like, he just didn't grab that brass ring, sort of thing. Like, he wasn't World Championship material. Which is sad to say because like he could have like had really good matches with like Triple H, Ric Flair, a young Randy Orton if he wanted to. Um, but I think that's a what if for one day. Let's just put a little pin in that. um, Jumping ahead 1 year later, the Vince McMahon Kiss My Ass Club is unofficially closed when Vince McMahon was forced by The Rock to kiss Rikishi's ass on SmackDown. Um, this is a very fun time in SmackDown history. This before we have Ric Flair's "The Consortium is me, you and I are partners" sort of era. Um, yeah, this is it's like one of those like weird kind of segments on SmackDown too, because it's like this is like Rikishi when he first came back after an injury, and then it's like boom, he's just he gets Vince McMahon's face in his ass and all that stuff. Oh, here's a good one. 2006, less than a day removed from the terrible December to Dismember pay-per-view. God help us all. Paul Heyman has left his position in WWE. Tensions had been mounted before the event, and it was clear that Heyman's vision for the show and ECW brand differed massively from the wider company plan. If a lot of people don't know about this, Vince McMahon and Paul Heyman were kind of butting heads at this time, and it was very, very well known. Because Paul Heyman wanted CM Punk to win. He wanted him to win the Extreme Elimination Chamber, and that show only had two good matches. It was the tag match between Hardys and Eminem, and the Extreme Elimination Chamber, but it has its faults a little bit. Um, but then like the rest of the card was just thrown together madness, and it was just dog shit. If they had just booked it a little bit better, maybe it would have been fine. But the story is that Vince wanted Bobby Lashley to win the chamber, which he did, but Paul Heyman, he wanted Punk to win. He wanted him to go in first and beat everybody else. But Vince McMahon did not like that, and he was just like, "No, that's not gonna work for me, pal." And ended up, having Bobby Lashley, his pet project, win the ECW title from Big Show, which most historically is not very well known for long matches. But yeah, it's sad that Paul Heyman leaves in 2006 and he doesn't come back till 2013 to do the thing with Punk, um, which is sad. Um, but even more sadder news. Going to 2009, Umaga or Umanga, if you've known this on the podcast, in New Legacy lore, Umaga, he died from a heart failure mere months after his WWE release at the age of 36. Umaga is one of those other guys as well. He did not get a fair shot. Like, he was like the monster of the month to John Cena at some point. Um, he had fought for the WWE Championship on multiple occasions. He just didn't win it. He had the Intercontinental Championship, but then he lost it to Santino Marella, who's a comedy wrestler. And it was kind of like one of those things where it's like he was just not pushed very well. He was booked very well, but he was not pushed very well. But if you don't know who he is, he's also Rosie from 3 Minute Warning. I think it's either Rosie or Jamal. I mixed the two up, but or yeah, it's Jamal. It's Jamal. Because he was in 3 Minute Warning. He could have like been a huge like tag team star because like him and Rosie were like dominating fools like left, right, and center. Um, but yeah, it's sad to say. It's sad to see like like how he could have like been more in the WWE, but they just didn't give him a fair shot. Um, so going to 2013, the Hart Family Mansion in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, is named a heritage site, official landmark, by Calgary Mayor Mahid Mensai. Try to say that 5 times fast. Which that's kind of cool. The Hart Family Dungeon, and the Hart Family Mansion. It's like it's very synonymous with lots of wrestling lore. Because Stu Hart, the patriarch of the Hart family, he would like grind and like kind of just like break people down, like to like just make sure like like this is like the real type of wrestling, like it's not like holding on to somebody, faking it and all that shit. It's like he will grind you down and he would just like make sure that you do not walk the next day. Some of them who has survived is like Brett Owen, British Bulldog, Jinder Anvil Neidhart, Brian Pillman, so just to name a few. Um, but yeah, it's like a lot of those like wrestlers that have passed on are still with us today. They have the stories behind it to tell you what you're, I guess what you're getting yourself into. Let's just say that. Um, so going to 2016. The SmackDown branded pay-per-view TLC Tables, Ladders, and Chairs for the American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. The main event saw AJ Styles successfully defend the WWE Championship against Dean Ambrose in a TLC match. Two titles changed hands on that card. Alexa Bliss, if I could say it, Alexa Bliss wins a tables match for the SmackDown Women's Championship against Becky Lynch, and Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton became the second SmackDown Tag Team Champions, defeated Heath Slater and Rhino. I do remember this pay per view. I did own this pay per view. I think I had the physical DVD copy of it. I know, like DVDs. Holy shit! What a shocker. Um, but yeah, that pay per view it wasn't bad. It wasn't good. The Bray Wyatt Randy Orton thing, it was like just kind of leading up to WrestleMania that next year in 2017, which was an awful match anyway. Which I wish they should have just put Luke Harper in there. It would have been fine. Um, Bliss winning against Lynch was a good call, I guess. Styles defending against Ambrose was a good call too. There was like the James Ellsworth like spot where he like pushes Dean off of a ladder and he goes through like two tables on the outside, which was like a gnarly bump. Um, God, remember James Ellsworth, people? Gosh. um, Going to 2018, WWE taped their annual Tribute to the Troops special at Fort Hood in Texas. The main event saw AJ and Seth defeat Daniel Bryan and Dean Ambrose. Which, that's a WWE 2K match, if I know that. Um, which, Tribute to the Troops shows, and it's like, it's good to give that to the men and women in the service, and we do thank you for your service. To like give them some like some entertainment and all stuff, because it's like like they don't get a lot of stuff out there. They get like some things out there to like entertain themselves, but it's like kind of gets kind of boring. Not gonna lie. So going to 2020, the pandemic era here. Friday Night SmackDown opened with a 10-bell salute to the late great Pat Patterson, R.I.P. With superstars and legends appearing on the stage, the show also featured a six-man tag tribute match, which was Daniel Bryan, Big E, and Rey Mysterio defeating Sami Zayn, Dolph Ziggler, and Shinsuke Nakamura, all former IC champions with the original title belt on display at ringside. Which is kind of cool. I think I remember watching that match. That was a really good match too. All six guys were like really, really good. In that six-man tag too. Um, so also some notable birthdays on that day was Hiromu Takahashi, the ticking time bomb in New Japan. Brooke Tessmacher, who was like a godsend in TNA. Victor, one half of the Ascension. And Sylvester Terkay, who remembers Sylvester Terkay? Like, holy crap, that's like way back. Um, but yeah, like it's so some of this stuff is gonna be like kind of like one of those like you just talk about wrestling in within that time frame or that time or day, and also I kind of killed two birds with one stone. I did December 4th and December 5th, because I kind of wanted to stretch it out a little bit. Instead of being like a 10-minute episode, and it's like you get 10 minutes of me blabbing on like wrestling and stuff. But with that being said, that is the end of tonight's episode, And thank you very much for watching and or listening to this podcast. Please make sure to follow us in all our on all of our social medias in the link tree in the description below, which will lead to our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook page, Reddit page, our individual YouTube pages, our podcast YouTube page, my gaming YouTube page. Hopefully, I get to 1,500 by the end of this month. Hopefully, fingers crossed. And tonight's song of the night is going to be from Simple Plan, a very notable band on this channel. I'm going to go with Wake Me Up When This Nightmare's Over from their latest album a few years ago. And there is a music video for it, and it is a very heartwarming message about the stuff over in Ukraine and all that stuff. So please go check that out if you have not already. And that's it. And I will see you next Thursday. Peace!